Maya Rodriguez walked into the advanced xenobiology classroom and took her usual seat in the back corner. She placed her tablet on the desk and opened her notebook. The other students were already talking loudly about the weekend party at Jake's house. Maya had been invited, but she told them she was busy studying. She was always busy studying, they said. Professor Williams entered the room carrying a stack of papers. He was a tall man with gray hair who had spent 20 years studying alien life forms. Today he looked worried about something. "Good morning, class," he said. "Today we will discuss the Zephyrian Empire and their expansion across the galaxy." Maya looked up from her notebook. She had read everything about the Zephyrians months ago. She knew their history, their culture, and their military tactics. She said nothing and waited for the professor to continue. "Who can tell me about Zephyrian society?" Professor Williams asked. Several hands went up. Lisa Chen spoke first. "They have conquered 17 different species in the past 50 years. They believe in something called the Great Harmony, where all species must serve under their rule." "Very good," the professor said. "And their military structure?" More hands shot up. Maya knew the answer, but kept her hand down. She always knew the answers, but rarely spoke unless the professor called on her directly. Alex Carter, who sat 2 rows ahead of her, turned around and whispered, "Why don't you ever participate? You're like the smartest person in here." Maya gave him a small smile but said nothing. Alex was studying engineering and had tried many times to get her to join study groups or social events. He was nice enough, but Maya had other responsibilities that she could not talk about. The discussion continued for an hour. Students debated whether humans could defend themselves if the Zephyrians decided to attack Earth. Most seemed scared, and they talked about Zephyrian technology and their massive fleets. They wondered if humanity was strong enough to fight back. "The Zephyrians have never lost a war," said Brad Murphy, a loud student who always sat in the front row. "They have weapons we can't even understand. If they come for us, we're finished." Maya wrote something in her notebook. It was not class notes. It was a list of Zephyrian weaknesses that she had identified through her research. Their overconfidence, their predictable attack patterns, their inability to adapt when their first plan failed. But she kept these thoughts to herself. After class, Alex caught up with her in the hallway. "Hey Maya, want to grab lunch? Could talk about the assignment." "I can't today," Maya said. I have something I need to do." "You always have something you need to do," Alex said with a friendly smile. "Come on, when was the last time you did something fun?" Maya thought about her. Evening plans. She would spend 4 hours in advanced military simulations, practicing fleet movements and strategic planning. Then she would review intelligence reports about Zephyrian troop positions near the outer colonies. Fun was not part of her schedule. "Maybe next week," she said. Knowing she would probably say the same thing next week, Maya walked across campus to her small apartment. She lived alone, which was unusual for a student. Most people her age had roommates to help pay the rent. But Maya received a special scholarship that covered all her expenses. The scholarship came with certain requirements that she could not discuss with anyone. She made a simple dinner and sat down at her computer. The screen looked like any other student computer, with files for her classes and research papers. When Maya typed in a special code, the screen changed completely. Now it showed classified military data, ship movements, and strategic reports that only a few dozen people on Earth were allowed to see. Maya had been part of this secret program for 6 years. General Patricia Stone had recruited her personally. After Maya scored higher than anyone in history on the strategic thinking tests, Maya was 18 now, but she had been planning military operations since. She was 12 years old. Her computer showed new reports from the outer colonies. Zephyrian scouts had been seen near New Haven and Frontier Station. The pattern was familiar. Maya had studied 17 previous Zephyrian invasions. They always started the same way. First came the scouts, then came psychological warfare too. Break the spirit of the defenders. Finally came the main attack fleet. Maya opened her simulation program and began running scenarios. She moved virtual ships across star maps, testing different defensive strategies. She had run these simulations thousands of times, but tonight felt different. The reports from the colonies suggested that this was not just another drill. Her phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Alex. "Hope you're not studying too hard. See you tomorrow in William's class." Maya smiled slightly. Alex had no idea that his casual conversations about engineering problems had helped her design better ship defenses. When he complained about power grid failures, Maya learned about system vulnerabilities. When he talked about new engine designs, Maya understood how to track enemy ships. Alex was helping the war effort without knowing it. The next morning, Maya arrived at class. Early, as always. She reviewed her regular notes while other students filtered in. Professor Williams looked even more worried than the day before. He kept checking his phone and seemed distracted. "I have an announcement," he said when everyone was seated. "There have been some developments regarding the Zephyrian situation. I have been asked to inform you that student reserves may be activated in the coming weeks." The classroom erupted in nervous chatter. Students turned to each other with wide eyes. Some looked excited, others looked terrified. Maya remained calm and continued taking notes. "What does that mean exactly?" Lisa Chen asked. "It means that students with relevant skills may be called to support various defense efforts," the professor explained. Engineering students might work on ship repairs. Biology students might help with medical research. It would be temporary assignments. Maya knew this was not the whole truth. The activation of student reserves meant that the military was preparing for something much bigger than temporary assignments. But she could not say anything without revealing what she knew. After class, Alex was more excited than worried. "This could be amazing," he said. "I might get to work on real military ships instead of just studying them in textbooks." Maya nodded but said nothing. She knew that Alex would indeed work on military ships. She had already put his name on a list of recommended engineering personnel, but she could not tell him that his quiet study partner had more influence over his future than he could imagine. That evening, Maya received the message she had been expecting. General Stone wanted to see her immediately. The real war was about to begin, and Maya's secret life was about to become very public. Maya walked into the military compound that evening. The guards at the gate knew her face and waved her through without checking identification. She had been coming here for 6 years, but tonight everything felt different. The hallways buzzed. With activity, officers hurried past carrying urgent messages. The quiet routine she knew so well was gone. General Patricia Stone waited in her office. She was a woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Maya had known her since she was 12 years old. The general was the closest thing to family that Maya had left. "Sit down, Maya," the general said. "We need to talk about your next assignment." Maya took the chair across from the desk. She had sat in this same chair hundreds of times for briefings and training sessions. But she could see something new in the general's expression. This was not another training exercise. "The Zephyrians are moving faster than we expected," General Stone said. "Our scouts report massive fleet movements near the outer colonies. We believe they will begin their invasion within days, not weeks." Maya nodded. She had seen the same reports and reached the same conclusion. "What do you need me to do?" "Tomorrow morning, you will receive new orders in front of your class. You will be called to active duty as a strategic advisor with the rank of lieutenant commander. Your cover as a regular student is over." Maya felt a strange mix of relief and sadness. She had spent so many years pretending to be someone she was not, but she would miss the simple life of attending classes and studying with Alex. "Tell me about your background again," General Stone said. "Help me understand how you became who you are." Maya closed her eyes and remembered. She was 12 years old, living on the colony world of New Austin with her parents. Her father worked in the mining operation. Her mother taught at the local school. It was a peaceful place where families could build new lives among the stars. Then, the raiders came. They were not Zephyrians, but a smaller alien group that attacked human settlements for supplies and slaves. Maya woke up to the sound of explosions and laser fire. Her parents pushed her into a hidden shelter beneath their house and told her to stay quiet no matter what happened. Maya stayed hidden for 2 days. When the military rescue team finally arrived, they found most of the colony destroyed. Her parents were gone. Hundreds of people were dead or missing. Maya was one of only 30 survivors. But while the other survivors cried or sat in shock, Maya did something different. While she watched the military investigators work, she listened to their conversations. She began to understand how the attack had happened and why the colony defenses had failed. Captain Stone. As she was then noticed the strange, quiet girl who asked detailed questions about military tactics, Maya wanted to know about ship movements and communication systems. She wanted to understand how the raiders had planned their attack. "Why do you want to know these things?" Captain Stone asked her. "So it never happens again," Maya said. Captain Stone arranged for Maya to take a series of tests. The results were extraordinary. Maya scored higher than trained military officers on strategic thinking and tactical planning. She could see patterns that others missed. She could predict enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. "We have a special program," Captain Stone told her. "You would live a normal life and attend regular school, but you would also receive advanced military training. It would help us prepare for threats that most people cannot even imagine." Maya agreed immediately. She wanted to protect other families from what had happened to hers. For 6 years, Maya lived 2 lives. During the day, she was a regular student. She attended classes, did homework, and tried to fit in with other young people. But every evening, she entered a secret world of military planning and strategic analysis. She learned about alien psychology and military history. She studied the tactics of every species humanity had encountered. She ran thousands of combat simulations and developed new strategies for defending human space. The hardest part was not the training. It was the loneliness. Maya could never tell anyone about her real life. She could not explain why she sometimes knew things that she should not know. She could not have close friendships because she was always hiding part of herself. Alex Carter was the first person in years who had tried to be her friend without asking too many questions. Maya genuinely liked him, but she also saw him as a valuable source of information. Through casual conversations, she learned about engineering problems that could affect military operations. Alex never realized that his complaints about power, systems, and engine designs were helping Maya plan better defenses. "Your work with Cadet Carter has been excellent," General Stone said. "He has provided technical data that our engineers found very useful. Does he suspect anything?" "No," Maya said. "He thinks I'm just a shy student who studies too much." "That will change tomorrow," the general said. "Are you ready for people to know who you really are?" Maya thought about facing her classmates after they learned the truth. She thought about Alex discovering that his quiet study partner was actually a military officer. She thought about Professor Williams realizing that the student who never spoke up in class knew more about alien military tactics than he did. "I'm ready," she said. The next morning, Maya sat in her usual seat in the back corner of the classroom. But instead of opening her notebook, she waited. She knew what was coming. At exactly 10 o'clock, the classroom door opened. "Commander Kate!" Harrison entered, wearing her full military uniform. Behind her walked a Marines in combat gear. The classroom fell completely silent. "Professor Williams," Commander Harrison said, "I need to speak with your students about the current crisis." "Professor." Williams nodded and stepped aside. He looked pale and nervous. "Students of Terra Nova University," the commander began. "As you know, we face a serious threat from the Zephyrian Empire. The military is activating all reserve personnel immediately." She began reading names from a list. Lisa Chen. Report to Medical Research Division. Brad Murphy. Report to Communications. Alex Carter. Report to Engineering Course. Maya listened as her classmates were assigned to various support roles. Some looked excited, others looked scared. Alex glanced back at her with a worried expression, as if he wanted to make sure she would be safe. "Maya Rodriguez," Commander Harrison said. "Report to Strategic Command as Lieutenant Commander. Special Operations." The classroom erupted in shocked whispers. Every head turned to stare at Maya. Alex's mouth fell open. Professor Williams looked confused. Lisa Chen actually gasped out loud. Maya stood up calmly and walked to the front of the room. Her entire posture changed as she moved. The shy, quiet student disappeared. In her place stood a confident military officer who looked like she belonged. "In command, ma'am?" Maya said to Commander Harrison. "Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez reporting for duty." The other students stared in amazement as their classmate transformed before their eyes. Maya had spent 6 years hiding her true self.
Ow.
Finally, she could stop pretending. Maya stood on the bridge of the transport ship, heading to Havens Point mining colony. The ship was full of nervous soldiers and worried civilians. Everyone knew that Havens Point was considered a lost cause. The colony had only basic defenses and no military base. When the Zephyrians attacked, most people expected it to fall within hours. Captain Roy Bennett walked over to Maya. He was a man in his 40s, with 20 years of combat experience. He looked at Maya's young face and shook his head. "I still can't believe they're sending a college student to save us," he said. "No offense, but this seems like a mistake." Maya looked up from her tablet where she was studying maps of the colony. "Captain Bennett, I understand your concerns. But I'm here to help, not to take over your command." "Help?" Captain Bennett laughed. "Kid, I've been fighting aliens since. Before you were born, what could you possibly teach me?" Maya did not argue. She had learned that some people needed to see results before they would listen. Instead, she continued studying the colony layout and making notes. Havens Point was built around 3 large mining facilities. The colony had 5,000 people, mostly families of miners and their support staff. The settlement was spread out across several valleys with no natural barriers for defense. On paper, it looked impossible to defend, but Maya saw something different. She saw opportunity. When they arrived at Havens Point, Maya immediately began walking through the colony. She examined the mining equipment, the tunnel systems, and the power grid. Captain Bennett followed her, still skeptical about her plans. "Mining lasers," Maya said, pointing to the massive industrial equipment. "How quickly can they be moved?" "Those things weigh 50 tons each," Captain Bennett said. "They're not exactly portable weapons, but they can cut through ship armor," Maya said. "And the power cables can be rerouted." Captain Bennett started to see what she was thinking. "You want to turn the mining equipment into weapons?" "Among other things," Maya said. She pointed to the entrance of Mine Shaft 7. "These tunnels go deep underground and connect to all 3 mining sites. We can move people and supplies without being seen from space." For the next 2 days, Maya worked with the colonists to transform their home into a fortress. The miners knew their equipment better than anyone. Maya showed them how to modify the drilling machines into mobile artillery. She taught the engineers how to reroute power systems to create hidden weapon positions. The colonists were amazed by her knowledge. Maya knew exactly how Zephyrian sensors worked and what they could not detect. She understood their attack patterns and their weaknesses. She spoke about alien military tactics like other people talked about the weather. "Where did you learn all this?" asked Linda Garcia, the colony's chief engineer. "I've been studying them for a long time," Maya said simply. Captain Bennett slowly began to respect Maya's plans. She was not just giving orders. She was teaching people how to defend themselves. She listened to suggestions from miners and engineers who knew the colony better than any outsider could. "The Zephyrians always attack the same way," Maya explained. To the assembled defenders. "First, they try to scare us with threats and demonstrations of power. They want us to surrender without fighting. Then they land troops to secure key positions. They expect quick victory with minimal losses." "So, how do we stop them?" asked Pete Johnson, a mining foreman. "We give them what they don't expect," Maya said. "Make them fight for every meter. We turn their advantages into disadvantages. And we show them that humans don't scare easily." On the 3rd day, the Zephyrian fleet arrived. 3 large warships took position above the colony. Maya watched from the command center as alien shuttles began launching toward the surface. "This is Zephyrian Commander Vex to Havens Point Colony," came a voice over the communication system. "You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally. Resistance is futile." Maya picked up the microphone. "This is Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez of Terra Defense Forces. Havens Point Colony rejects your demand for surrender." There was a long pause. Then the alien voice returned, sounding confused. "You are only children and minors. Why do you choose death over service? Because we're human, Maya said simply. And humans don't give up. The attack began exactly as Maya had predicted. Zephyrian dropships landed near the main mining facility, expecting to quickly secure the colony's center. Instead, they found empty buildings and booby traps. The real defenders were hidden in the mines. When the alien troops spread out to search for colonists, Maya triggered her trap. Mining lasers emerged from hidden positions and began cutting into the enemy ships. Explosions echoed across the valley as modified drilling equipment tore through. Alien armor. The Zephyrians tried to call for air support, but Maya had prepared for that too. Surface-to-air missiles, built from mining rocket systems, shot down enemy aircraft.
Ow.
The aliens found themselves trapped in unfamiliar terrain, fighting an enemy they could not see. How are they doing this? Captain Bennett asked, in amazement, as he watched the battle unfold on the tactical displays. They're overconfident, Maya explained. The Zephyrians have conquered so many worlds that they stopped adapting their tactics. They assume every enemy will react the same way. But Maya's greatest weapon was not the modified mining equipment. It was the recording devices she had placed throughout the battle zone. Every moment of the fight was being broadcast across human space. People on dozens of worlds watched as a small mining colony defeated a superior alien force. The psychological effect was exactly what Maya had planned. For months, humans had lived in fear of the Zephyrian Empire. Now they saw that the aliens could be beaten. The victory at Haven's Point was more than military success. It was proof that humanity could fight back. When the surviving Zephyrians retreated to their ships, Captain Bennett found Maya in the command center. She was already planning the next phase of the defense. "I owe you an apology," he said. "I was wrong about you. You were protecting your people," Maya said. "That's what good officers do." "Where did you really learn to fight like this?" he asked Maya. Looked at the tactical display showing enemy ship movements. "Oh, I learned from the best teacher possible. I learned from my enemies." Word of the victory spread quickly through the human fleet. Other commanders began requesting Maya's advice for their own defensive plans. Admiral Clark himself sent a message asking for her strategic assessment of the overall war situation. Maya realized that her role was changing again. She was no longer just a secret advisor or a single colony's defender. She was becoming something new, a symbol of human resistance and a strategic mind that could match the aliens. Greatest commanders Alex Carter arrived on a supply ship 2 days after the battle. When he saw Maya coordinating fleet movements and directing defensive preparations, he finally understood why his study partner had always seemed distracted in class. "You're really her," he said. "The Maya Rodriguez that everyone is talking about." "I'm still the same person," Maya said with a small smile. "I just don't have to hide anymore." "The girl who never spoke up in class is now giving orders to admirals," Alex said, shaking his head. "This is going to take some getting used to." Looked at her friend and realized that she had missed having someone who knew her before she became famous. In a war full of strangers who saw her as a strategic genius, Alex still saw her as the quiet girl who used to help him with xenobiology homework. "Want to help me plan the defense of the Outer Rim?" she asked. Alex grinned. "It's just like old times. Except now we're trying to save humanity instead of passing William's class." "Pretty much," Maya said. "But the stakes are a little higher now." Maya stood in the main war room aboard the battleship Defiant. Holographic displays showed the massive Zephyrian fleet approaching. Earth. The alien armada was 3 times larger than anything humanity had ever faced. Every screen showed red warning signals as enemy ships moved closer to humanity's home world. Admiral Luck looked at the tactical displays with a grim expression. Around the table sat the most experienced military commanders in human space. They had all come to the same conclusion. Earth could not be defended against such overwhelming force. "We have 48 hours before they reach Earth's outer defenses," Admiral Clark said. "Even with all our fleets combined, we're outnumbered 3-1. What are our options?" General Stone spoke first. "We could try to hold them at the Jupiter defense line. Use the gas giants' moons as cover and make them fight for every position. That might delay them by a few days," said Admiral Parker. but eventually they'll break through. We don't have enough ships. Maya listened to the discussion. While studying her own tactical analysis, the other commanders were thinking defensively. They wanted to protect Earth by fighting the enemy as far away as possible. It was logical thinking, but Maya saw a different opportunity. What if we don't defend Earth at all? Maya said quietly. The room fell silent. Every officer turned to stare at her. Admiral Clark looked shocked. "Excuse me, Lieutenant Commander," said. Maya stood up and walked to the main display. She began manipulating the holographic star map, showing enemy positions and supply lines. The Zephyrians have committed their entire core fleet to this attack, she explained. Every major warship they own is heading for Earth. That means their home system is almost undefended. You want to attack their homeworld while they attack ours? General Stone asked. More than that, Maya said. She highlighted several star systems on the map. Let's look at their supply lines. Stretch themselves across half the galaxy to maintain this empire. If we threaten their home system, they'll have to choose between conquering Earth and protecting their own families. Admiral Clark studied the map carefully. It's an enormous risk. If we fail, Earth will have no defenders at all. If we stay here and fight, we'll lose anyway, Maya said. But if we force them to divide their attention, we might have a chance. Plan Maya proposed was unlike anything in military history. Instead of one massive fleet action, she wanted to coordinate simultaneous attacks across a dozen star systems. Human forces would strike at Zephyrian supply bases, communication centers, and occupied worlds, all at the same time. The key is timing, Maya explained. We hit everything at once so they can't respond effectively while they're trying to figure out what's happening. Our main strike force reaches their home world. Admiral Clark looked around the room at his senior officers. What do you think? Captain Bennett, who had served with Maya at Havens Point, spoke up first. I've seen what Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez can do. If she says this will work, I believe her. One by one, the other commanders agreed. Maya's reputation had grown throughout the fleet after her victories at Havens Point and 3 other colonies. People trusted her strategic thinking even when her plans seemed impossible. Over the next 24 hours, Maya coordinated the most complex military operation in human history. She worked with Alex Carter's engineering teams to modify ships for long-range strikes. She coordinated with intelligence officers to identify key targets in Zephyrian space. She planned timing sequences that would allow attacks across dozens of light years to happen simultaneously. The hardest part was not the technical planning. It was convincing people that the plan could work. Many officers had spent their careers learning defensive strategies. The idea of abandoning Earth to attack the enemy's home felt wrong to them. Trust the plan, Maya told Admiral Clark. The Zephyrians think they understand humans. They expect us to be afraid and defensive. They don't expect us to be aggressive and coordinated. When the operation began, Maya commanded from the bridge of the Defiant as it led the strike force toward Zephyrian space. Around her, dozens of other ships carried out their parts of the plan. Communications officers reported successful attacks on enemy supply bases. Engineering teams confirmed that ship modifications were working perfectly, but the real test came. When they reached the Zephyrian home system, the planet Zephyr was beautiful from space. With blue oceans and green continents, protected by a ring of defense stations, Maya studied the enemy positions and realized that her intelligence had been correct. Most of the home fleet was gone, committed to the attack on Earth. This is Zephyrian Home Defense Command, came a voice over the communications system. Unknown. Ships, identify yourselves immediately. Maya took the microphone. This is Lieutenant Commander Maya Rodriguez of the Terra Defense Forces. We're here to discuss surrender terms. There was a long pause. Then a different voice responded, older and more authoritative. This is Emperor Vex himself. You are the human child who has caused so much trouble for my empire. I'm the human who's about to end your empire, Maya said calmly. The Emperor's. The voice became angry. Impossible. A main fleet is destroying your homeworld even as we speak. You have no power here. Our main fleet is racing back to defend you, Maya said. Check your communications. Every supply base, every occupied world, every communication relay in your empire is under attack right now. Your commanders can't. Tell the difference between our real attacks and our diversions. Maya was right. Across Zephyrian space, confused military commanders were calling for help and reinforcements. The simultaneous attacks had created panic and chaos. No one knew where the main human force was or what their real objective might be. You're bluffing, Emperor Vex said, but his voice sounded less certain. Emperor, your empire's falling apart while you're talking to me, Maya said, but I'm prepared to offer terms. Withdraw all forces from human space. Release all prisoners in occupied worlds. In exchange, we'll stop our attacks and allow your people to return home safely. And if I refuse? Maya looked at the tactical display showing Zephyrian defense positions around their home world. Then we show you why humans have become the dominant species on 6 different worlds. We adapt. We improvise. We never give up. The final battle lasted only 3 hours. Maya's forces had spent months studying Zephyrian defenses and had prepared specific countermeasures for every weapon system. Alex Carter's engineering modifications allowed human ships to penetrate enemy shields, coordination that had been practiced. Thousands of times in simulations worked perfectly in real combat. When Emperor Vex finally surrendered, he asked to meet the human commander who had defeated his empire. Maya walked into the conference room aboard his flagship, no longer the quiet student from the back of Professor Williams's classroom. You are very young to carry such responsibility, the Emperor said. Age doesn't matter, Maya replied. What matters is understanding your enemy and never giving up hope. 6 months later, Maya returned to Terra Nova University. But instead of sitting in the back corner as a student, she stood at the front of the classroom as a guest lecturer. Alex Carter sat in the audience, along with several other former classmates who were now serving in various military positions. Most important lesson about interspecies relations, Maya told the new students, is that every species has strengths and weaknesses. Humans survive not because we're the strongest or the smartest, but because we can adapt to any situation and work together when we need to. A student in the back corner raised her hand. She was quiet and serious, much like Maya had been years before. What if we face an enemy we can't defeat? The student asked. Maya smiled, remembering when she had asked similar questions. Then we find a way to make defeat impossible. That's what humans do. We turn disadvantages into advantages. We find hope where others see only despair, and we never stop fighting for what we believe in. After the lecture, Alex walked with Maya across the campus where their friendship had begun. Do you ever miss it? He asked. Being just a regular student, Maya looked at the young people hurrying to classes. Worried about exams and assignments instead of alien invasions and military strategies. Sometimes, she said. But I've learned something important during the war. Everyone has hidden potential. Everyone can be more than they seem. Sometimes it just takes the right crisis to bring out the best in people, including quiet students. Who sit in the back corner? Alex said with a grin. Especially them, Maya agreed. You never know who might change the galaxy.